and so it was very nice. It's nice to meet actually at least 3 of you actually from Ghana, and Charles, you are on video, actually, when all of us are, but I'm going to make this little video for the people that weren't able to make it, or maybe actually we'll have internet connections actually. But Cristina, why don't you help me actually explain, if a teacher is in Ghana and we have our 1.0 system, what can they do?
Sure, I'll give it a whirl. Hi, thank you for coming from so far away. I understand it's just a matter of getting yourselves to a computer, but it does feel like you've come from a long ways away. My background, I actually taught in Africa. I taught a little bit around a little bit farther south of you in Gabon. People do get confused between Gabon and Ghana, but I don't.
At least.
So I did teach in Gabon. But it was 25, maybe even 30 years ago. And so we had no technology at the time, not even cell phones. And so now I understand, your students may have access to cell phones. So everything I'm going to talk about today involves you and your students getting onto a computer of some sort. And so that said, if the students do have a computer at school or even their cell phone at school, they can use our app to download the assignment and then work when they go home. So that is a possibility. And I'm sure they have, when I was in Gabon, all the kids had cahiers. And so they did all their work, and that's still an important part. Your notebook, wherever the pens and stuff, they still have to solve the math problems when they're doing assessments with the computer. All the computer does in assessments is give them feedback on whether they're right or wrong, and give the teacher, feedback on how well the class did. So it's a pretty simple system, but we think it's super powerful, the type of information that you and your students get. So I'm at our and also please use that chat. If you see, I'm gonna open up the chat on my screen. So if you have questions, make me stop, because otherwise it just makes it easier, because you know your situation, and you know what's going on where you are, and you might need to ask me some questions. So what you're looking at right now is our website for what we call Assessments 2.0. In order to do the download feature, you're going to have to use our 1.0 system. So I'm going to take you there in just a minute. But if I scroll down, I just wanted to start with the 4 steps of assessments. The first step is creating an assignment. The second step is having your students go and do the assignment. The third step is looking at the data. And the fourth step is talking to your students about the data. That's our philosophy of using our tools. So it's, as I talk today, we want to remember that, and I will remind you of those 4 steps. But since you're going to be using our 1.0 system, you'd click here. There's a little tiny line here. It says still using 1.0, click here. And so that's going to take you into the sign up. Now, I don't want to spend all this time now giving you a whole bunch of instructions because we have a lot of instructions already online, but I am going to go to an incognito so that you can see what things are going to look like for you. If you, so if you're here and you haven't logged in and you click on here, you're going to reach this window that says create an account. But the most important thing I can leave you with today is this button in the upper right-hand corner that says need help. If you learn where that button is, you can learn assessments. There's instructions for everything here. So I'm going to click there because I don't want to have to give all the instructions that are already here. It's probably just a waste of everybody's time. So it's just more helpful for you to know where you can find help. There's the basic navigation. there's creating a new class, assigning problem sets, helping students get started, simulating a student in your teacher account, students submitting works with their answers. So these are your basics. And then you'll probably want to read through class and account management. So now that I know that you know how to get here, I'm going to go a little bit faster than I normally would if I was teaching you. If I was teaching you, I would let you do things, and then I would do things, and then I would let you do things. But I know that you can come back here and get this basic support. So it's super important that you know this is here. So going back here, and now I will go a little bit faster. You're going to have to create an account. You're going to say that you're a teacher. You're going to pick that you are non-US. And then there are these are some of the schools that are already open in Ghana. If you don't find yours here, then you can say register your district here. And that will send us an email. But I'm going to pretend that I am part of, is this anybody's? Are any of you guys in any of these 4 schools? Charles, maybe you can put it in the chat and then we can hear, or then I can see your answer. Any thoughts, Kennedy?
No, I don't know anyone in that school.
My Knowledge Academy. All right, I'm just going to pick one. So there's 3 people on this call. I don't know if they belong to any of these schools, but so I'm just going to pick that one, and then I'm going to pick the school. If yours isn't here again, just request one. We'll send you back.
I know of the King International School.
Can you write that in the chat?
That sound, we didn't really hear that very well.
All right, I'm going to continue on. The code is first step. And so that is the one thing that everyone should know. So maybe Kennedy, I don't know who's emailing out to folks, but they can definitely give the folks that code. We just don't want students to get the code, but all teachers can have that code. And I'm going to verify, and then I'm going to put in my first and last name, and then your email, sample@wpi.edu. So this is just setting up your account.
Yeah, hello.
Yes.
And by the way, Charles, glad to hear that you are actually, your school is ASSISTments Senior High School. And I just wanted to let Cristina know, we actually have Lisa and Kennedy, you should feel free to actually help me actually better pronounce Ghanaian last names that you probably can do much better than I can. Uwasu. But just so you know, Cristina, some people are joining us, but we're recording this so people will be able to see it afterwards, even if they couldn't see it all live. But you are right now, you've made the first step of making a teacher account.
Yeah.
What happens next?
So the next thing, so the very first step that teachers have to make is find an assignment and assign it to your students. And so I'm going to go to Content to Assign and down to ASSISTments Certified. And since this group is mathematics teachers, here's some of the content that we have. I'm only imagining you're using some curriculum. I don't know what that is. So I'm going to go into problem solving as our beginning thing. And I think it was Charles told us that he works with 13 to 15-year-olds. So that's hitting right about in 7th grade. So I'm going to just click on 7th grade. Here are some 7th grade topics. I'll go into geometry. I know I love teaching geometry in Gabon because they did such great stuff with the French system, but I'm assuming you maybe follow the British system, but the French system had some really great 7th grade geometry. I liked it very much. But I'll just pick constructing triangles from the measures of angles. Actually, I'm gonna, let's see. Here we go, solving for area and circumference. So at this point, you see a bunch of sets of problems. If you click on view problems, you'll see the actual math problems. So this is the part where the teacher can select, I want to give this problem out to my students, or this one. The inside rail of a running track consists of a rectangle with a semicircle at each end as shown above. Find the approximate distance in meters for one complete lap around the track. So this is the type of math that you will see across the world. I'm sure you ask your students at some point in their education to find the answer to problems like this. So I'm going to just assume that this is a problem set that we want to assign to our students. So you can create a new problem set from here, or you can go over back to the problem set that you saw and click on assign. So the teacher's first step is to assign. There's a few choices here, but if you leave the defaults, it should be okay. And then click on assign. And that means that this problem set is now available to my students. So I'm going to scroll all the way back up to these accordions, close up content to assign, and open up assignments. And there's my assignments. So that's your first step, finding a problem set in content to assign, go through the math. If you have ever heard of the America system, we have this Common Core, so that organizes our content. Or you can just look through them and see by the names. So now I'm ready for students to do the work, which means I have to enroll them in a class and have them do that assignment. And like I said, I'll say it again, I can go over here to need help. And there's instructions on how to get your students started. And so you all can read those and see what that looks like. I'm going to go take a look at the next step. This class has an enrollment code, which you'll give out to your students. But I'm going to just from my account, log in as a student. So the enrollment code is going to help the student get into class. And then this is my class. And there's the problem set. So the students, once they get started, they'll just see this link. And they'll see a long list of links for every assignment that you give to them. They click on that link, they see the problem, and then they start answering it and putting the answers in. For this demo, I'm actually going to go back to content to assign, and I'm going to assign a problem set that I know all the answers to, because it's a heck of a lot easier to show you how this works when I know all the answers by heart. So I'm going to go into open up, 7th grade, intro to proportional reasoning, practice problems, lesson 2. I'm going to click on view problems. I'm going to skip this problem. I'm going to take this, let's see, this problem. I'm going to skip this one. I'm going to pick this one. One of the things we like about ASSISTments is once you figure out how to sort of manage the system, you get to choose the assignments that you want to give to your students. So I'm going to create a new problem, and I'm going to call this Ghana demo. And then I'm going to create that. And now I'm going to go back to the problem sets I built, and I'm going to assign that one, because this one's going to be a lot easier for me to do as a student. All right. So now if we go back to teacher, I should have 2 assignments that I've assigned. So I'm now in assignment. I have the Ghana demo, and I have that circumference of circles assignment that I assigned first. And this one is now my second assignment. So I'm going to go back in as a student. Your students will only have a student tab. They will just see student at the top. They won't see teacher or building, because they don't have the ability to do those things, just be a student. And so now I'm going to click on demo. And this makes me feel really happy because I know all the answers to these problems and I don't have to do any math. I can just show you how it works. So I'm going to put the first answer in, which is 3/7, and I got it right. So if your student gets the problem right, and this is why I brought up earlier that they need their paper and pencil. Students don't get to answers all in their heads unless unless it's a really easy problem. Most of your students will solve the problem. That just has to happen. That part of the math is not being taken over by ASSISTments. What's happening with ASSISTments is that the student is finding out if they're right or wrong right away. So I just got that problem right. I got a green check. And now I'm going to go on to the next problem. And this time I'm going to get it wrong on my first try. And the nice thing here is the students working on their work, they get the problem wrong and they know they got the problem wrong. That's new. Usually they have to do their work, they fill it out on a piece of paper, they come back the next day into your class, they all sit down. If your students are like my students, when I taught in Africa, you walk in the room and they all stand up and they're so polite. And then they sit down when you tell them to, and then you go over the answers. And it's only then that they find out that 7 was the wrong answer. It's better if they find out right away. So that's what ASSISTments does. ASSISTments allows the student to find out on the problems you gave them, whether they got it right away. And so a lot of students will then go back, look at the notes that they wrote, and they'll get it right on their second try. If they get it right on the second try, they get a green X. This next problem, I'm actually going to type in a common wrong answer, which is 9. If they type a common wrong answer, they might get a fancy message. The answer here should be 3. That's the scale factor, but actually 9 is the number of times larger the figure is. And so while 9 is a great answer, they did some work. They drew a new polygon. The polygon was smaller. It only has an area of 5. And so the polygon Q is 9 times as large as polygon P, but that's not the question. The question is, what is the scale factor? And the scale factor is not 9, it's 3. And so lots of kids type in 9 as a common wrong answer, and it's nice for them to get the feedback while they're working instead of later, the next day when they come back to class. So this catches them. Then maybe they'll try another number. I'll be a student that doesn't understand. Then maybe they try another time, and then I'm going to try and get it. I'm going to get it right. And notice I get a red X. I get a red X because I got it right after exhausting my partial credit. So I tried too many times and I didn't get any points. This next problem shows up in math books. You're asked to explain. And so students here can type an answer, or they can upload a picture if they want to, and then submit that. This next one is choose all that apply. If your students absolutely can't figure out the problem on their own, they can look at show answer. And if they look at show answer and they copy the answer, they get 0 credit. But you also see not only a red X, but a red X with a yellow background. And that bright yellow background is to sort of signify to you, this problem was hard for that student. And then possibly this problem was super hard for a lot of students. And that's what we're going to show you in the next step. So I finished my assignment, and the students can then go back to look at the rest of their assignments and go back to work. So that's step 1 and 2. So step 1 was the teacher choosing the assignment. Notice I chose an assignment I wanted to do because I wanted an assignment I knew the answers to. The second part is the students go in and do it. And now comes the fun part for you as a teacher. So once your students have done the assignment, you can look at your assignments. So now I'm back at the teacher tab, and then I can click on report. And when I click on the report, I can see what happened during that homework assignment. So basically, I now have the magical ability to look inside every kid's cahier or notebook and see what they did. And that I can do before they come into class. And that allows you as a teacher to really enhance what you do in class, because things are much more efficient when you know more things about your students. And so that's really the secret sauce of ASSISTments, is the students getting that feedback and then the teacher getting this report. Once again, I'll go through this report, but I just want to make sure you all remember, up in the corner where it says need help, if you go there and scroll down, there's a whole section here about different reports. So item reports, skill builder reports, assignment report, individual student report. So those reports, there's instructions for how to understand those reports here. But I will quickly go over this report. I see that I have my student's name. I see the % correct. That gives me a sense, usually when there's more than one student. Actually, I know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go to, no, I queued this up. Here is a teacher's class, and I'm going to go in and show you a report with lots of stuff on it, because it's no fun to look at a report with just one student. So I'm going to go to assignments, and notice this teacher's given a lot of assignments. So about every other day during the school year, this teacher gave an assignment last year, and has 85 students completed it, 1's in progress, 4 haven't started. These are all the assignments that that teacher did. I'm going to go into unit 2, proportional relationships, and go to this one. I think maybe this one. Well, it doesn't really matter. We'll go look at this assignment, and you can see how well the students did on this assignment. Whoops, this group didn't do it. This one here. I'm going to go to a more interesting assignment. One that I know is more interesting. Assignments. And this one. So this is step 3, the teacher going in and looking at the report. So I can go to just this one class. So notice the first problem, only 77% of the students got it right. The second problem, there's no grade. There's no grade because this was one of those open response questions where the kids typed in an answer. So we have like, the answer is 2 because the one dimension that is shown on figure B is twice as large as the corresponding side in figure A. So they write different things for their answers. You've got % correct on each one of the problems that they solved, and ba-boom, this is where things get exciting. You see that only 48% of the students got this problem right. And so that's a place to react. It's a place for teachers to try to sort of say to the students, what's up? Why is this so hard? Was there a misconception? Well, we can lean more into the data, and we can see that 70% of the students who got it wrong said 26.5. Well, that's meaning something went wrong. Everyone has the same misconception for the answer to that problem. And that's where we hand things back to you as the teacher, and you can deal with this data and you can respond to your class about the data. And so that becomes step 4, is you and your students having a conversation about the data. And you can tell them, you could say, hey, most of you got this problem wrong. You could even click on the problem and say, what was it about this problem that was difficult, and so on. So that's ASSISTments in a nutshell. Like I said, the help is up here in the corner. And I would say that step one is just giving it a try, getting your students logged in. All of those first steps take time. But once you get that going, then I think that we could have another meeting and we could start asking more questions and figuring out where people are and what you want to do next.
I could tell the chat is kind of quiet. Actually, I think there's probably lots of people with some connection issues while you were talking. At least one actually teacher, Lisa, I tried to join. But since we're recording this, let me actually just say, to kind of recap, we are excited to actually get some teachers in Ghana that are either here live or we're listening to this recording after the fact, actually help actually my wife Cristina, myself, professors actually Alex Smith and Rob Kruger and Baton run a proper interesting actually study. Can we actually bring this technology to Ghana? We're interested in taking the content that actually teachers are normally using in Ghana and putting it into the system. Cristina just demonstrated actually using some freely available materials that are used in the United States. You of course could use those materials, but actually you'd probably prefer to actually use the materials you're already used to using. And that just makes things easier. So our goal is to actually find a few teachers that actually, when Rob Kruger and us professors go to the World Bank and say, why don't you actually give us a bunch of money to try to actually help move this system that actually my wife and I have made and we give away for free in the United States. And yes, that's correct. That's correct. There's no company here. There's actually just WPI and the ASSISTments Foundation that we give away as a free public service to 300,000 kids here in the United States. So I encourage you to actually take a look at actually see if you can make an account, see if you can follow these steps. I'd be particularly interested in actually being able to bring some people to actually a meeting. So when I have to actually tell someone at the World Bank, we actually want to bring this thing to Ghana, that actually one of you can be like, yes, I tried it. I actually sent it home. Only half my kids actually had technology, so only half of them were able to use it, but it worked. I found it useful because I was kind of surprised to see a common wrong answer like Ms. Heffernan actually just described. I just called my wife Ms. Heffernan. That doesn't make any sense. But that's our goal. So if that makes sense to you and you're excited, why don't you give it a try? Let actually us know. Kennedy actually is one of our graduate students here who's trying to help me actually get a few teachers up and going, so that when we go to the World Bank, actually we'll actually have some people that could say, I tried it. You know, something I'd actually really love to actually show. Cristina, can you show me actually how do they take it offline, please? Because I'm really proud of the fact that actually me and my PhD students who created this, we built actually the ability to take all of this offline. So Cristina is probably going to bring you to the directions, because remember, she says, go need help here. Because of course we all know many of our students in Ghana are not going to actually have an easy time being able to do everything. Can you make that a little bigger, dear? Which is actually you go to the teacher view and you go under save features and go to the next one, please. Then you're going to go there and you're going to hit this, you're going to let kids hit this download button, and so they can actually, the student will be able to actually run their work offline in whatever device they actually have. And the next time they get back online, it will work. Here is the offline little, this is a screenshot of actually what it looks like in the, when things are offline. But the big idea is when you get back online, actually when a child gets back online to some wireless hotspot, then their data will go back up and you'll be able to see it from a teacher's perspective. So those are the big ideas. Let me ask actually Professors Kruger and Smith and Somasse actually, anything else we actually want to put into this video before we stop? What did we miss?
You're muted, Rob.
Rob, you're muted.
The dreaded you're muted.
No, it's tough.
Anyway, thank you, Neil and Christina, for the overview of ASSISTments and showing our friends the benefits of it as a, as an assessment to teaching mathematics. I think everybody will see the value of what you have produced and be delighted to use that. We look forward to hearing from people over the next few days. We would like to maybe reach out to you sooner rather than later to identify a deadline for you to participate, so we can keep moving with our work on this end. We appreciate all the time that you put in tonight or whenever you watch this, and thanks again. Alex, do you want to say anything?
Well, there's not much I can add to that, but I would just thank everyone. Thank you, Neil and Christina, for the demonstration, and thank you everyone in Ghana for attending. We look forward to hearing from you soon, and we'll reach out, and we're looking forward to talking about having you try ASSISTments.
Thanks.
I will actually stop and I'll hit the